Greetings, newbies, to Geek Salad. We're just Joe and I today, and we're doing something a little bit different, mainly because Andy doesn't like anime.
Nope.
Not sure why.
He is actually hostile to anime.
I actually let him borrow my copy of Princess Mononoke, my all-time favorite Studio Ghibli movie.
Oh, really?
And he was like, "That's all right." I'm like,
oh,
no, it's great.
It's a classic.
It is a fucking masterpiece.
It is. Well.
Anyway,
like I said, he's hostile. He's hostile to anime.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to get the big eyes thing, which whatever.
Whatever.
But anyway, Joe and I are here to talk about one of our all-time favorite anime shows that's going on right now.
Yeah,
and it is
My Hero Academia.
Academia.
Yeah, I'd say it I'd say the Japanese name, but I'd just screw it up, and I'd probably offend like 2 million Japanese people if I did.
Yeah, it's like Boku wa Hero Academia, I think.
Yeah. I don't even bother.
It basically translates to My Hero Academia, so we're gonna stick with that.
Yep.
But hopefully this will become like a regular weekly thing for us, where we're going to be reviewing the episodes, and we're going to kick things off with episodes 1 and 2, because it's really one episode.
It really is, and it makes sense to review them as one, because you really don't. The first 2 episodes really kind of are the world building episodes, and they really do a good job. It just kind of throws you right in, so you kind of have to watch both of them. It helps to watch both of them at once.
Yeah, what's really great about this series as a whole is just the world building is so well done.
Oh God, yeah.
Both.
Well, the thing is it's a very simple. On its face, it's a very simple concept when you think about it.
Yeah.
The basic premise is in the world, 80% of people have superpowers, which are called in the world they're called quirks.
Yeah. Most of them are like little small things, but
right. Most people, for most people, are it's a small thing. Like you can make a pencil out of your finger. Okay. Okay, that's a quirk. You're thinking to yourself, well, what's so special about that? But the anime does a really good job just throwing you right in, but it's also very accessible in the sense that you don't. This is My Hero Academia is of the genre called shonen, which is geared towards teen, young male. It's very much geared to a young male audience with an emphasis on action and stuff like that. It has a lot of it has a lot of similar tropes, but unlike a lot of other shonen, where like if you try to get into Naruto or Bleach, they're at this point where they have like over 150 episodes each. So it's not like you can just jump in and enjoy. You got to go back all the way to the beginning, and then you're like, well, everybody's talking about what's going on now. Do I really want to go back to the beginning? My Hero Academia is still at that point where you can jump in at the beginning, but it's still very accessible, and you can still jump in and you can still enjoy it from the start. You don't have to worry about, like in Naruto, well, who are the Akatsuki? Who's Pain? Why do I have to pay attention to this and that and this other thing? So
yeah. Plus, I'm being a lot of echo.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't hear anything.
Yeah, I think because I get headphones in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. And now it's actually good. I'm not hearing myself anymore.
Okay.
But another thing that's so great about the series is that with the world building, is that the quirks. The quirks are really cool, but they usually have a logical weakness to them.
Yeah.
And even like the government regulation of these, there are rules set on how these things have to be done, like how heroes are regulated and all that, and how they get their money and all that. It's actually very well done.
Well, in terms of the one thing that these first 2 episodes do really well right from the start is it lets you know that even though, and it really kind of sets the whole foundation of what the whole series is about, is that 80% of the population has quirks and has some sort of special superpower, it doesn't necessarily mean everybody knows how to use it and you can be a hero because of it. And especially when you meet the main protagonist, Midoriya, or as he's called throughout the series, Deku, you find out that he's quirkless. He's born, he is one of the 20% of the population that does not have any superpowers. And that weighs wicked heavily on him in the first 2 episodes.
Oh yeah.
So not only does he not have a quirk that would be considered useless, because again, these 2 episodes make a very good point of, you have this villain that's rampaging through the streets, but most of the people don't know what to do with him. They can't stop him. They have to rely on these heroes to do it. And even then, the heroes that they do have, they may not have the correct powers to be able to deal with this threat.
Right. Yeah. It's not as if oh, I'm getting the echo again. No, I'm not. It's so weird. It's like on and off. But anyway, it's sometimes the heroes, the heroes aren't all powerful. Some of them,
right.
They can only, when this big huge sludge villain is rampaging, they try to attack and our powers are useless against this. We've got to just do damage control until a hero shows up that can deal with this. So
exactly.
It's very much the whole world is set out very, very well.
Yeah.
And what I also love is that when you first meet Izuku and you first meet All Might, and you first meet Bakugo, they all fall into certain anime tropes that are very well known. But as the show goes along, you realize these characters are not very just 2-dimensional. They have very long, well defined depths.
I will say this, and because we've both seen a lot more episodes in these first 2, so I don't want to spoil anything away. But I will say, when you first meet Bakugo, he is not likable. When you first see him, he has really no redeeming value whatsoever.
He is a bully in every sense of the word.
Right, and you get the sense that, and it makes a very clear distinction between what Deku's motivations are and what Bakugo's motivations are. Where you see that Deku has a very altruistic, very unselfish reason for wanting to be a hero. You get the sense that Bakugo is only doing this to serve his ego. That he says he wants to be the number 1 hero, but the way the world works, hero popularity is a big. You're considered the number 1 hero because you're very popular and people love you. With the current Bakugo, as you meet him, he's not going to be the most popular hero. Nobody's going to like him.
I mean, he comes out and says, he comes right out and says that his motivation is he wants to be the number 1 hero. He wants to be the richest hero of all time. Right. So it's all about
his ego.
Yeah, his ego, making money.
And then as the show goes on, you kind of find it all fits in very well the way they do it. But yeah, it's like I said, you meet Bakugo, he has no redeeming value whatsoever, and then you see him, and you're like, oh my god, this kid is so naive that you're like,
he cries so much. He cries so much.
Well, what anime hero doesn't cry so much? But it's funny, kind of going back to Bakugo, because like you said, these guys fall, these characters fall into certain tropes. Where you have which is in shonen manga and anime, you have the outcast main protagonist who has to overcome these near impossible odds. He's an outcast. People don't understand him, which Deku fits perfectly into. And then you have his rival, which is Bakugo, but usually the rival has some redeeming quality to him. Yeah. Like for example, you take Naruto. Naruto's rival is Sasuke, and Sasuke, he comes off as aloof and standoffish and kind of just, but he's not unlikable. you can kind of understand a lot of his reasoning. You know, like I said, he just comes off as aloof. Whereas Bakugo, you just don't like him. You know, I when I first started watching it, I just didn't like. And I have to admit, 4 seasons in, he kind of softened a little bit on me, but I'm still not a big Bakugo fan.
I think it was like midway through season 2 that's when I started like, you know what? I kind of get Bakugo. I'm starting to come around on him.
Well, we'll have to debate that in future episodes as the story goes on and as you see more of what's going on. You know,
right.
why a lot more their motivations start becoming more clear.
Yeah,
you know, but especially when you start seeing the previous generation, you know, the All Might's generation and his rival, and you kind of see parallels.
Oh yeah, Bakugo. Yeah, there are some serious similarities between Bakugo and I'm not going to say it.
Right, but we know who it's. You and I both know.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about, right?
But and another great thing about these first 2 episodes is right away, and just right off from the start, you see this, and I saw it when I first watched it. This is a love letter to American comic books.
Oh, big time! I mean,
you know, and not just American comic books, but American pop culture. You know, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're gonna love the Easter eggs in this show.
Yes. Oh,
you know,
I mean, it starts off like Izuku's story. You know, story begins on
Tatooine Station. You know, but yeah,
and he trains on Dagobah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's, you know, back to my previous point about this being a love letter to American comic books. I remember I posted when I first started watching the show a couple of years ago, I posted on Facebook that it was sad that an anime and a manga was doing Superman better than DC or Warner Brothers was at the time.
Hell yeah. I mean, All Might is, I mean, hell, when he shows up, he's got like a big old American flag that projects in his back.
Yeah, exactly. Every time he monologues, he's standing in front, and all his like super moves are named after American cities or, you know, American concepts like
Texas
Detroit
Smash. Detroit Smash. Yeah.
But again, like I said, he is the analog of Superman, but he's Superman better than DC and Warner Brothers are doing Superman now.
Right.
And without being boring, you know, a lot of the knock on DC and Warner Brothers or a lot of the complaints that people have about DC and Warner Brothers is they're trying to take Superman away from what he is, which is he's the big blue Boy Scout.
Yeah,
you know, he is a symbol of peace in the DC universe. But in My Hero Academia, All Might wears that proudly on his sleeve. He's like, yeah, I am the symbol of peace. I am All Might. I am Superman. You know, and he's proud of it. But because he understands what he is.
Yes.
You know.
What's really great about All Might is that when you first see him, I mean, when I first saw him, you know, he was like, hi, he's like you think he's going to be like this larger than life, kind of like just almost arrogant, like a very, very self-absorbed hero. But then you find out like his secret, and you're like, oh, there is a lot more behind the scenes.
Well, when you first see him, and you really the whole when I first started watching the show or first heard about it, I'm thinking, oh, this is just going to be a parody of like American comic books and the American superhero concept.
Yeah.
And at first, that's what it comes off of. You know, it's like you're thinking, oh, this is a commentary on just Americans in general, but it's not. It really is. It really isn't. It's a bit of parody, but it's done lovingly. You know,
very
it's like an understanding that you know, it's kind of funny, but there's goodness behind it. There's a reason why it's okay. It's good.
Right. Of course, I did come up with I've watched like these 2 episodes so many times that how much would it suck if this entire series was just like the final moments of Izuku's life as he was smothered by the sludge monster? How much would that suck?
Well, the end of the second episode kind of gave away, you know, what the actual. I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but you know, it kind of gives away what the actual series is.
Yeah.
What's actually happening, so because if you pay attention to the narrator, you kind of know who, when you listen to the narrator's voice, you kind of have a clue. Yeah. But it wasn't until the end of the second episode you realize that he tells you what it is.
And I'm not gonna lie, I cannot like I said, I've watched these first 2 episodes a number of times. Every time it gets to that final shot in the second episode, I've got tears going on. I mean, that's a great thing about this show is that it has these moments of excitement, but there's always like a very emotional through line that always catches you.
It's got a very human touch to it.
Yes.
And it's it's being shown in anime, everything's done from 0 to 100 in under a second. But it's like I said, it's got a very human touch to it. It knows what feelings to play, basically what feelings to play with,
And what I really love is that, I mean, the basic core concept of this show is, what does it mean to be a hero?
Yeah, that's basically what it is. At its base foundation, that's what it is. And like I said, these first 2 episodes make that very clear. Like I said, absolutely. Not everybody can be a hero, but this one kid who's got no powers, he acted like more of a hero than any of the professional heroes was there. He acted like more of a hero than the greatest hero that this world has.
Yeah.
In that moment,
Yeah, it's very much like everyone, like 80% of the people have quirks, but probably only 20% of them have what it takes to be a hero.
Exactly.
Most of them, one of these story arcs of the second season, it really kind of brings it to the head. Like most of the heroes out there don't act heroic. They, they're in it for themselves, and there's a very small portion of that are actually worthy of being called heroes.
Right, exactly. And right. And even then, you got to go to school for it, and even then, it's no guarantee that you're going to be able to,
right,
have what it takes to be, to be called a hero.
Mm.
And another thing I want to kind of touch on, like I said, like going on about how the world, not everybody can be a hero. You also get this real sense that even though it's not explicit, there's this sense that there is this real discrimination in this world, and Bakugo is really kind of in the first few, when you first meet him, he really is the embodiment of the prejudice of the prejudices that people may have against people, quirks that may not be considered useful. And then what if you're quirkless? Well, Bakugo even told Deku, you're useless.
Well, that's what Deku means.
Right. He's like, you're useless. You're quirkless. You're no good. You have no, to Bakugo, Deku has no worth whatsoever because he's quirkless, and so again, that goes into my whole thing is like, well, why is he a hero then? Well, he's in it for himself, and that's why he's not a likable character at first. Whereas you see this, like I said, you see this kid who's got no quirk, no power. He's doing everything he can. He wants to be a hero because he wants to help people because he's inspired by All Might.
Yeah, I mean, after we're trying to keep this as spoil free as possible.
Yeah,
but after the whole sludge villain episode, Bakugo is being praised because he withstood that, and he had a really cool quirk.
Right, he's got a wicked awesome quirk.
Deku, who was acting heroically, was yelled at because he ran into danger, and they would have to rescue him.
Right, because he was acting like the hero. Because he acted like the hero, and it's funny when you think about it because nobody knows that Deku doesn't have quirk. None of these heroes knew that they just assumed he just ran in just for the sake of running in,
Yeah.
But then because they saw Bakugo with his quirk and they're like, oh, you're so awesome and stuff like that, which again goes goes into Bakugo's whole backstory, which we'll figure out later on. They'll drop hints about later on. Still doesn't make him likable in my view, but I think that makes him even more of an ass. But
fair enough.
But like I said, they do. This is the first 2 episodes are a very good setup for what's coming up.
Absolutely.
Especially when as more as future episodes come along, you meet more of the other characters and stuff like that. It's hard not to get sucked into this anime.
Yeah. And I also like how the fact that like a lot of the characters might just get like in the first season they might just get like a few appearances here and there, like especially most of Class 1A.
Yeah.
But as the show goes on, you really get to know at least most of them to a much deeper degree. Particularly one in particular that's kind of become one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I think you know which one I'm talking about.
I know. But it's funny because you start getting like your favorites in the show real quick. Outside let's face it, the big 3 of the show are Bakugo, Deku, and All Might. The show is basically going to revolve around their relationship.
Right.
What happens. But you quickly learn that all these other characters are so integral to their lives, and you just enjoy their presence. You want to see more of them.
Oh, absolutely. One more thing that I'd really kind of like to talk about is Izuku's mother.
Yes.
Because when in these first 2 episodes, you're given kind of like one kind of view of her.
Mm-hmm.
But that quickly like morphs throughout this, especially this season. But this is really kind of a mother that she obviously loves her child very much so, but she did not encourage him when he needed it most.
No, and again, I think that goes back to the inherent prejudice that is in this world, because the doctor asked her, "You're 4th generation, right? She's a 4th generation quirk holder, user, So, she's got basically telekinetic powers, and his father breathes fire, which are pretty cool quirks when you think about it. So
by the way, real quick, you've made it further than I have. Do you still ever meet his father?
No, they don't even.
I think the story is.
He kind of just, outside of the first episode, they really don't mention him anymore.
Yeah, I believe the backstory is he's working in America.
Trip. Yeah, he's on a business trip or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, that's sound, but there is a part where Deku's mom basically tells All Might, you're his father now, kind of type of thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, he spends more time with All Might than,
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, going back to my point about that, her not offering support is more, again, like I said, the inherent prejudice that's in this world. It's like one of those things like, oh my God, my son's born, to them, probably they're seeing the fact that his son is quirkless. They're probably seeing it as a handicap, and now he's going to be a target because he's going to have all this prejudice against him. So I think it wasn't more support, more of like fear and being overprotective.
Yeah.
As the series goes on, she kind of shifts from that, but she still has that fear in her.
Oh yeah.
Even though I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a reason why she's more protective. She tends to be more fearful, more protective.
Yeah. And I mean, it really kind of makes Deku shine even more, because this is a kid that for pretty much 15 years, he has been just the butt of everyone's joke. He's been the target of bullies. Nobody in his class respects him. They're all laughing at him. And
you saw it in the classroom scenes. Everybody had a quirk except him.
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah,
then
when he says,
and of course the teacher doesn't help. You know, the teacher just threw him under the bus instead of being supportive or understanding. You know, he points out to Deku, to everybody in the class, oh yeah, and you want to go to the hero course at the most prestigious hero academy in the entire nation. And it's just like, everybody knows he has no quirk, and you just basically embarrassed him in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
So,
and made him a target for Bakugo.
Which makes what happens to him at the end of episode 2 all the more heartfelt, because the one person that he respects more than anything gave him the respect that no one else does.
Right. The respect that he's been craving from his peers.
That's the part that always gets my tear ducts going. But so that was My Hero Academia episodes 1 and 2. Again, we tried to keep this as spoiler free, but I think as the episodes go on, we're probably gonna be messing around with how much we go into spoiler territory or not.
Yeah.
So, but
the show's been out for almost 3 years now.
Yeah, like 4 years.
4 years ago. So.
Yeah. But the first season, it's only 13 episodes and very, very easy. If you get sucked into like the first two episodes, you will keep watching.
The first season goes by pretty quick, because there's not a lot of filler like you see in a lot of other shonen manga and anime. You know, there's no Naruto filler in this series, at least not in the first season, like there is in Naruto.
Well, even in like the second and third season, where they do have filler, it's very effective filler.
Right, yes, it ties into the filler in the subsequent seasons fills in the major arc of the entire season. So it's not like a standalone where you're going into a flashback about, you know, Kakashi's, you know, eating ramen or something like that.
Yeah, it was about that point that I stopped watching Naruto. I got about like maybe 100 episodes of the original show, and I was like, yeah.
Well, it's funny because I watched it. And I would actually watch like 2 or 3 episodes a night, and I watched like the first 4 seasons that were on Netflix, and then Netflix didn't have the subsequent seasons, which I think were 5, 6, and 7. Mm-hmm. But they had Naruto Shippuden, which is a time jump, like 5 years after Naruto takes place. So it's like, well, I can't just jump into Naruto Shippuden without seeing the rest of the original Naruto series. So it's like, so it kind of just fell off, and I never picked it back up again.
Yeah, same thing for Bleach with me. I made it like through the first few story arcs. Yeah. And then like I made it to like when he was in the afterworld, and he rescued
Mundo.
Yeah, and he rescued
Orihime.
Yeah, it's been years.
Yeah, I actually watched all of Bleach, so.
Yeah, I liked it, but it's just nothing held on to it. For some reason, My Hero is like.
But again, that's the thing. My Hero is one of those shonen that's very accessible, especially compared to Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, you know, or anything else like that.
I think the best way for me to describe My Hero Academia, like I use this to describe it to Andy. It's like it's basically a cross between. It's like Harry Potter with superheroes.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Really. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, that was the first 2 episodes of My Hero Academia. Yeah. Let us know what you thought of them. If you've watched them, give us a nice little comment below. Please keep it civil. Please give us a thumbs up if you like what we're doing here, or if you don't like it, please give us a thumbs up anyway.
Yeah, at least give us some constructive criticism.
Yeah, but yeah. So like I said, we'll hopefully be doing this 3. And next week we'll do episode 3. Maybe we'll do 3 and 4. I don't know. We'll
I don't know if those two would go well together, but
we'll see.
We'll watch it again. I'll watch it again. See, we can go from there.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it. But anyway, so yeah, and until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm Joe.
And yeah, this is Geek Salad. Go forth and be nerdful.